you will get an instant response and get all the information and the latest news.
Welcome to the news on Zodiac with me, Robert Karua. The headlines. Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital sounds SOS on rising COVID-19 admissions. Over 60 COVID-19 patients on oxygen. Taxi and minibus drivers take to the streets in Mzuzu in protest against government reducing passenger capacity. NGO describes legal empowerment to women as key in fighting gender-based violence. In other news, Museveni takes a lead as Bobi Wine cries foul in Uganda's elections. Now the news in detail. Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital in Blantyre is overwhelmed with rising cases of COVID-19 patients that are being admitted to the facility. Hospital Director Dr. Samuel Mundolo told Zodiac the situation is slowly getting out of hand as the facility is receiving an average of 5 COVID-19 patients in a day, expressing fear that hospitals may soon not be able to cope. Dr. Mundolo has since called for attention on the situation at the facility, which is now treating over 60 COVID-19 patients who are on oxygen.
COVID-19 situation is very bad. As I speak to you now, we have over 60 patients in the hospital being treated for COVID-19. They are all very sick. They are all on oxygen. The best that we can do as a country is to prevent COVID-19. At the rate that we are going, I think the system will soon be overwhelmed. We are admitting 5 or more patients daily, and that is a lot. During the first wave, we never went beyond 40 patients, but we are now already at 60. And that is a huge strain on the resources. I'm appealing to the general public to adhere to COVID-19 preventive measures. As a hospital, we will not allow anybody without a mask to enter the hospital. And we have put hand-washing facilities on many areas in the hospital. Please let us utilize them. We will not allow visitors on the ward, and we only allow one guardian on the ward. When you come to visit your relatives, stand outside the ward, and the guardian will come out, brief you on the condition of the patient, and then you can hand over whatever you have brought, food or whatever have you. You have a chat there and go home. But even as you are chatting, you still have to observe COVID-19 preventive measures.
Meanwhile, in Nilongwe, plans are in the pipeline to turn Bingu National Stadium into a COVID-19 isolation center to respond to the growing need for patient space in the capital city. Minister of Health Kumbidze Kandodo Chiponda disclosed this on Thursday, adding her ministry is taking similar initiatives in other parts of the country, considering the limited space in the country's hospitals. Kamuzu Central Hospital has already run out of space in the isolation ward, and the alternatives Waila and Biwi hospitals are almost full. Andrew Viano filed this report.
As cases of the COVID-19 pandemic continue to swell each passing day in the country, government is pondering on turning the magnificent Bingu National Stadium into an isolation center to cope with growing demand for spaces at Kamuzu Central Hospital and other facilities in Nilongwe. Minister of Health Kumbidze Kandodo Chiponda, who was speaking at the official launch of distribution of personal protective equipment to fight COVID-19 in the country by Malawi Red Cross Society, said officials from her ministry visited Bingu Stadium to appreciate if it can be turned into an isolation center. Chiponda said the same initiatives are being taken in Blantyre, where the ministry is also searching for other places that can be set as isolation centers.
We're also looking at the other places as well. We're also thinking of the Bingu National Stadium I will be there this afternoon just to inspect and see how best we can use it. So there are different options which we are looking at as a ministry in order that we do not turn away anybody else, but we give the right care to our COVID-19 patients. The same is also in Blantyre. We're also looking at various options in which we can increase our bed capacity.
Malawi Red Cross Society President Innocent Majia says distribution of PPEs will initially target 4 districts.
We were targeting much on the PPEs, talk of the water tanks, the soap, the sanitizers, the masks, and other important materials. Targeting 4 districts of Chikwawa, Kalonga, Mangochi, But apart from these, districts, we have also thought it wise that we should come up with what we call the core of the crisis modifier, whereby maybe we could also have districts that we could also look into the same.
Malawi has over 9,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus and over 200 deaths.
And in Dedza district, visitations have been suspended at the district hospital following a rise in COVID-19 cases registered in the district. Local transmission of COVID-19 in Dedza is at 52 people. District Health Office spokesperson Mwaili Abunya says in a view of the situations, patients and guardians will now need special identification to access the district hospital. Our reporter in Dedza, Chikondi Mpande, found this report.
Dedza District Health spokesperson Mwaili Abunya says 20 new COVID-19 cases have been registered, bringing the number of total cases in the district to 96. Liabunya says currently the number of active cases stands at 33 with 2 admissions. According to Liabunya, they have put in place strong preventive measures to contain further spread of coronavirus. He has cited suspension of visits at the district hospital, saying guardians and patients will be issued with identity cards to ensure compliance. He further said the hospital and health centers have suspended preaching sessions. According to Liabunya, discharging of all patients with improved conditions will be done regularly to avoid congestion. Meanwhile, Zodiak has established that most people in the district are not following preventive measures, which include wearing face masks in public. Some people in the district told us they do not have money to buy face masks. They have since asked the government and organizations to consider providing face masks in rural communities.
Meanwhile, a consortium of civil society organizations has proposed recommendations it believes will assist in upscaling the COVID-19 response as cases continue to rise in the country. Addressing the media in Lilongwe yesterday, the CSOs under the National Advocacy Platform, NAP, observed that while government was doing well in spearheading the fight, there are some notable gaps that, if left unchecked, could derail progress made. The recommendations are in the areas of health, education, and economy. Marai Sopiri found this report.
The CSOs under the Banner National Advocacy Platform, NAP, among other recommendations, are calling for their inclusion in the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and that operations and monitoring systems be strengthened and decentralized further to districts and communities. On school operations, they say the current opening of schools need to be in phases, prioritizing examination and finishing classes. The CSOs also say double shift should be introduced and additional teachers recruited to man additional classes, including enforcing COVID-19 preventive measures. Barbara Banda is chairperson of the NGO Gender Coordination Network, which is part of the NAP.
Among our recommendations, we have said we want to see a broader participation of stakeholders. We know that there are issues that we have pointed out to in this discussion, things that are concerning education, that are concerning the economy itself, and we are saying CSOs are playing a big part in also addressing similar issues because NGOs are on the ground in the country and they can be able to distribute IEC materials, they can be able to interact with school structures and come up with...
One of the CSOs, Malawi Health Equity Network, through its executive director, George Jobe, says the Ministry of Health should change the way it's treating returnees from South Africa by setting up a testing center at the Malawi Embassy in South Africa so that those that are positive are separated from those who are not to prevent spreading the virus while in transit. Malawi has registered over 10,000 cases of COVID-19. For Zodiac, This is Madalito Piri reporting.
Some taxi and minibus drivers took to the streets of Mzuzu Friday morning protesting a decision by government to trim passenger capacity in view of the COVID-19 pandemic. The drivers that we spoke to argue that it makes no business sense to reduce the number of people they carry when fuel prices remain exorbitant. 2 of the protesters have been arrested in the demonstrations that turned violent, inviting police to fire tear gas. From Mzuzu, Towera Kumwenda sent us this report.
Recently, government hiked fuel prices, an issue that raised concerns amongst minibus and taxi operators. Now, government says there is need for both minibus and taxi operators to reduce the passenger capacity as a way of preventing the continued spread of coronavirus in the country. However, the decision has raised anger amongst some drivers in Mzuzu who say they have stopped operating and do not want any taxi or bus driver to operate until government reverses its decision. Some drivers we spoke to, who asked for anonymity, say with the fuel prices, it is not fair for drivers to carry half their usual passengers, as this will make them incur more costs. Northern Region Police Deputy Publicist Maurice Chapora says 2 protesters have since been arrested following the demonstrations, as some drivers were harassing civilians and other taxi and minibus drivers, restricting them from operating.
Yeah, in fact, the situation went out of hand in town, whereby some people were taking stones on bypassers as well as blocking the roads, prompting the police to intervene by firing tear gas. I can confirm to you that at least 2 have been picked, but we are still monitoring the situation in town.
For Zodiak in Mzuzu, I'm Towera Kumwenda.
Meanwhile, a health expert says taxi and minibus owners should be engaged to take a patriotic part in the fight against COVID-19. Health expert Maureen Chira told us this morning that minibus owners have a significant stake in the war on COVID-19 in the country. You're watching the news on Zodiac. We'll be back with more shortly. The National Planning Commission, NPC, and the Ministry of Economic Planning and Development and Public Sector Reforms wish to inform the general public about a change in the format for launching the country's new vision, Malawi 2063. In view of the recent spike in COVID-19 cases in the country, government has directed that the launch be changed from a physical one to a virtual platform. The MW 2063 will be launched by the President, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus Makathi Chakwera, on Tuesday 19th January 2021 from 9 a.m. The President and a few selected officials will formally launch the MW 2063 from Kamuzu Palace in Dinongwe, while all other distinguished and invited guests and members of the general public will follow the proceedings through various digital platforms such as Zoom and Facebook live streaming, as well as live coverage on all major radio and TV stations in the country. Malawi 2063 for an exclusively wealthy and self-reliant nation. Malawi 2063, dziko lodzidalira komanso lotukuka pachuma mokomera aliyense. For further information, contact NPC Public Relations and Communications Manager Tom Kanje on mobile phone 08888 79329 or email tkanje@npc.mw.
kupeza zinthu zabwino sikulira kukhala ndi chuma koma kuzindikira chinsinsi. Pamene Yohane anatangwanika kufuna kumukomedwetsa tango, Yakobe anapeza chinsinsi cha tango kudzera pa lisiti la katundu amene anagula tango. Tango amagwiritsa ntchito zonse zopangidwa ndi Purity Sanitary Products, monga Purity wosambira mthupi, Purity wosambira m'manja, Purity wodzola mthupi, komanso Purity wotsukira mbale ndi mapoto. Patangotha sabata imodzi Yakobe akugwiritsa ntchito zopangidwa ndi Purity Sanitary Products, Yakobe adatenga mtima wa tango chifukwa chooneka bwino. Wonekani bwino pogwiritsa ntchito Purity Sanitary Products.
Welcome back. Before we continue with the news, let's take another look at the top stories. Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital sounds SOS on rising COVID-19 admissions, over 60 COVID-19 patients on oxygen. And minibus drivers take to the streets in Mzuzu in protest against government reducing passenger capacity. NGO describes legal empowerment to women as key in fighting gender-based violence. And in other news, M7 takes a lead as Bobi Wine cries foul in Uganda's elections. Moving on with the news, the government organization Gender and Justice Unit says legal empowerment to women is one of the tools to fight gender-based violence, GBV. Its paralegal coordinator Chifundo Chulu spoke at the end of a training session for women at Chitipi, T.A. Malili Indilongwe, on various forms of GBV and the legal channels available to them for remedies. She said the survey they conducted in 2019 revealed that most women are facing gender-based violence in Chitipi, Chigurizano and Lumbadzi. Chulu gives details.
When I did a survey that revealed in these three areas, Chitipi, Chiguri and Lumbadzi, and it revealed that most women were facing different forms of gender-based violence in these areas. So we come back to these same communities to empower them further and to give them feedback on the research that we conducted and to just engage with the communities and take out some of the important issues that they're going through. We also, in the process, pick out cases, gender-based violence cases that we can take to court or we can intervene in some way. Child maintenance issues are very rampant. Husbands skipping, paying fees, providing for their kids, and gender-based violence, physical violence mostly. Most husbands beat their wives, and the statistics are just bad. So these are the main issues that we meet with when we go to these communities: physical abuse and child maintenance matters. We've given them the gender-related laws. We've compiled a book through the survey. We came out with this booklet that provides for gender-related laws. So we pretty much give all this information to the communities, gender-related laws, that's our main focus. All the laws that are in relation to gender issues, gender equality issues, or gender-based violence, or human rights. We give them to the women, and we give them the processes of the court, the things that the tools that they can use to go to court, or the organization itself, Gender Justice Unit, to use Gender and Justice Unit to access justice in our GBV response unit. One of the gaps in the research that we conducted, one of the biggest gaps that was noticed was that there was lack of knowledge, zero knowledge on human rights, on the laws that provide for those human rights, on how to access the court services. So it's very bad. The situation is very bad. The people in the communities do not know their human rights and do not know how to access justice. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it would be on an 8 or 8.5.
Meanwhile, the Mzuzu City Council has been accused of extravagance for deciding to hold a 2-day full council meeting at the Lakeside in Nkadabe from Tuesday this week. But Mzuzu City Mayor Kondwani Nyasulu parries the accusation, saying in fact, by holding the meeting in Nkadabe, the council reduced expenditure. The Mzuzu City Council is in big financial challenges. From Mzuzu, Towela Kumwenda has the details.
The debate by the council's decision left many questioning the rationale behind it, with most saying it is unfortunate that the office, which fails to pay its workers on time or collect garbage in the city, could hold a meeting in Nkadabe. However, Mzuzu City Mayor Kondwani Nyasulu said the decision to hold the meeting in Nkadabe was a way of cutting costs, though he could not disclose how much the council had spent on the 2 days lecture meeting. According to Nyasulu, the council is currently trying to balance its expenditures as it is servicing a 1.8 billion kwacha debt, and that the decision to hold the meeting away was to cut on costs as the council chamber only accommodates 30 people, but due to COVID-19 preventive measures, this would not be possible, and that conference rooms within Mzuzu City are expensive.
Revenue mobilization is improving now. We are managing that well within short space of time, but we should not just manage that whole amount getting into payment of legal challenges But we want that money at least to get into the community, cleaning the town, chasing the vendors, paying the police.
The mayor further pointed out that though the council currently does not have enough equipment, talks with community members surrounding Silo Waste Management site seem to be yielding better expectations on reopening of the site. For Zodiak Tv, I'm Toera Mwenda.
Catholic Commission for Justice and Peace, CCJP, for the Archdiocese of Blantyre has challenged local and faith leaders to take a leading role in ensuring that people are holding duty bearers accountable in the implementation of developmental projects. CCJP Projects Officer Luisa Kwapata said yesterday that it is the responsibility of these leaders to ensure justice in all projects for sustainable development. We have a report filed by Ronex Chiwanda in Palombe.
According to Project Officer for Catholic Commission for Justice and Peace in the Archdiocese of Blantyre, Luisa Kwapata, leaders should ensure that justice is done in all projects. Kwapata says there is need for local and faith leaders to be in the forefront in ensuring that people are taking part in tracking development initiatives in the country. She has since challenged the area development committees, ADCs, to be vibrant in tracking public funds so that the country should have standard projects.
We want our leaders to work hand in hand with the citizen and at large in deciding the different developmental works that have to be carried out in our communities. As well as the local leaders, the traditional leaders, the faith-based leaders, they have to be on the forefront encouraging their masses to be part of the processes in different works that are there in the communities.
Chairperson for Muslim Association of Malawi, MAM, Palombe Chapter, Sheikh Abdullah Sitolo, says there are challenges in the implementation of development projects because most development structures are manned by political party members. Sheikh Sitolo says for the smooth implementation of development projects, local development structures should not be run by party chairpersons.
In other news, Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has a clear lead in the presidential race following Thursday's vote, early officials' preliminary results show. But his main challenger, pop star turned politician Bobi Wine, said that tally was the result of the worst rigging in Ugandan election history. Election monitors say confidence in the count has been damaged by an internet shutdown now in its third day. Dozens of people were killed in the run-up to the elections. With that, we have come to the end of our news bulletin this evening, but before we go, another look at the headlines. Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital sounds SOS on rising COVID-19 admissions, over 60 COVID-19 patients on oxygen. Taxi and minibus drivers take to the streets in Mzuzu in protest against government reducing passenger capacity. NGO describes legal empowerment to women as key in fighting gender-based violence. And in other news, Museveni takes a lead as Bobi Wine cries foul in Uganda's election. Visit our website, zodiacmalawi.com, for more news. My name is Robert Kalua. Remember to keep social distance to help stem further spread of the COVID-19. Good evening.
Nkhani yabwino kuchokera ku Kambewu Organic Fertilizer Company.